Hi there, welcome to Keep It Simple with Grandma. Today we will be making cinnamon rolls. And I know what you're saying, there's so many recipes out there for cinnamon rolls. Why do we need another one? Well, actually we don't. And I have a great recipe to share with you. The biggest reason for this video is to give you a tutorial to show you how very easy it is to make cinnamon rolls. A lot of people avoid making them because they think they take too long or they're just really hard. And this isn't a shortcut recipe, and most everything that I have here are things that you already have in your cupboards or in your fridge. So it's very simple. So I hope that you will try it and that you'll be brave enough to make your own cinnamon rolls. So let's get started. These are the ingredients that you'll need. We will need 3 to 4 cups of flour. I have all-purpose flour, and many recipes will tell you to use bread flour or a different kind of flour, but realistically, all-purpose flour works just fine. And then we have 1/4 cup of melted butter or softened butter, and we have 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have salted butter, or I could have bumped it up to 1 teaspoon. And some people wonder why you put salt in a sweet dessert or dish. And the reason is salt actually adds a lot of flavor, not just for savory dishes, but it also enhances the flavor of desserts. We're just not going to put in a whole lot. And then we have 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. You can also use instant yeast, but what we will do in a couple minutes here is to make sure that our yeast is good. My yeast expires in a couple days according to the expiration date on it, so I'm going to check it by proving it, and we'll go over that in just a minute here. And then I have 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 2 eggs that are at room temperature, and then I have 1 cup of lukewarm milk. And the reason that it needs to be lukewarm is because if it's too cold, it will not activate the yeast. The yeast is actually alive, and so we want to jump start it. And so if it's too cold, it will not activate it. If it's too hot, it will kill it. So it's important that it's lukewarm. And lukewarm, if you've ever made a bottle for a baby and you squirt it on your arm, you're looking for a lukewarm temperature. That's what you're doing with this. You can also use water. You don't have to use milk, or some people use a combination of both. And then the last ingredient for the dough is mashed potatoes. And this is something you don't have to put in. Some people are like, what? Mashed potatoes? But mashed potatoes actually cause the texture to be really soft and fluffy. And you can use instant potatoes. What I did is I just baked a couple potatoes, and then just after they were cooled, I scooped out the inside and mashed them up. But you can use leftovers that have not had a lot of seasoning added to them. Maybe a little bit of salt would be fine, but I would taste them before you put them put them in your cinnamon rolls. You don't want to put garlic potatoes in with your cinnamon rolls. That wouldn't be good. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And first of all, like I said, we're going to activate or proof our yeast to make sure that it's good. And we do that by putting our lukewarm water or milk in this case, in, and then we'll put in our yeast, and then we will put in 1 tablespoon of our sugar. And what sugar does, any kind of sweetener, some recipes call for honey, so in whatever sweetener you're using, it just helps to activate the yeast. So we'll go ahead and turn the mixer on just a low speed, just to mix it up, and then we will let that set for about 5 or 10 minutes. That's all you need to do is just stir it up. And I have some yeast on this side here, so I'm going to go ahead and push that down in. You do not have to use a stand mixer. I have arthritis, so it's a lot easier for me to use a stand mixer. You can use another kind of mixer. You can also just beat it by hand. So, and it really, whoops, it really comes together pretty quick. So we'll let that set for just a minute, and then we'll come back and add our other ingredients. Okay, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, I guess, the yeast is very active and alive. That's exciting. Can you see that? How bubbly that is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add the other ingredients then. We'll go ahead and add, let's see, there it is, our potatoes. You don't taste the potatoes at all in this. You just notice the texture difference, so don't be alarmed by that. And our sugar, our salt. And I melted the butter in the microwave, but I did let it cool at room temperature. Okay, when I add the flour, I'm only going to add 3 cups at first. You want to add as little flour as necessary, or as you need, because the more flour, then the tougher the dough will get. So, and also your flour amount will be dependent on the elevation that you live in or the temperature outside, the humidity. So we will start with, I have about 4.5 in here, so we'll start with about 3 cups. And there's no need at this time to measure it because I know about how much is in here. See, we'll go ahead and mix that up. Now I'm going to put the dough hook on, and like I said, all of this can be done by hand. Some people even just do it literally with their hand instead of a spoon. So, and we're going to knead it for about 10 or 15 minutes, and what we're looking for is for all the dough to come away from the side. It will all cling into one big ball, so the side will be pretty much clean. Okay, you'll see that the dough has pulled away from the side, and it's no longer really sticky. It's just a little tacky. See how nicely that comes out. So now I'm just going to form it into a ball, and then I will put it in a greased bowl, and we'll let it rise for about 45 minutes to an hour until it's doubled in size. Okay, as you can see, our dough has more than doubled in size. But before we punch that down, we're going to make the filling for the cinnamon rolls. So we have here 1 cup of brown sugar, and we have 1/2 cup of melted or really soft butter. And then we're going to put 2 tablespoons of cinnamon in with the brown sugar. It doesn't have to be an exact amount. You stir that together, so that's all ready. So I'll set that aside, because now the fun part here, first we're going to punch it down. We're going to release all the air out of it. Then we're going to form it into a rectangle about 12 by 16 or 18, but I need to flour this. Flour it pretty well. I'm going to put my excess over in the corner though, because I don't want to add a whole lot of flour here. I'm just keeping it from sticking. And then I'm going to flour my rolling pin. But first, I'm going to try to keep it in a rectangle shape. That's not such a big deal, but I'm a little OCD, so I like it to be pretty close to a rectangle. How much you roll it out is dependent, or will determine how many cinnamon rolls you get. And if for some reason as you're rolling it just keeps wanting to pull back together, just stop and let it rest for about 10 or 15 minutes and then it should be fine. Okay, I know that my rolling pin is about 10 inches, so I know I need to go a couple inches more. It ends up being about a 1/2 inch thick. I think that's good. Okay, now we're ready to do the butter. And I'm going to kind of pour it on, but I'm going to brush it then. You want to leave just a little bit along the edge so that it's easier to kind of squeeze it together when you're ready to roll. And now it's easier to just sprinkle it on like this. And then we're ready to start rolling. So let's just start from, some people start at the top, I like to start at the bottom. And what you're basically doing is kind of rolling and kind of tucking it in. Not super tight, but just keeping it formed nicely. Try to go back and forth down the roll. Make it even. Okay, now I'm going to kind of pinch the bottom here to seal it, and then put that part on the bottom. I have a greased 9x13 pan here, and what I'm using to cut is a piece of dental floss. You can actually cut with a knife too, but over the years I have found that this actually cuts nicer, so it doesn't leave, or it doesn't squish the cinnamon rolls. So what I do is start in the middle, or about the middle, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then go ahead and cut that in half again. And this one. And then I'm going to make 3 out of each one of these. See what I'm doing? I'm just kind of overlapping it so that it twists on itself. So this one on the end is usually kind of a funky looking at the bottom, but if you, or at the end, but if you put it like this, then it will be fine. And I usually like to put the tails inside so that as they grow, they will kind of all meld together there. Okay, now I'll do the next. Okay, now they need to rest again and raise for about another 30-35 minutes. So I will once again cover them, but this time I think I'll cover them with a greased plastic wrap, and then once they're raised enough, we'll go ahead and pop them in the oven. Okay, look how much these cinnamon rolls have risen. They're ginormous. So I'm going to put them in the oven. That has been preheated at 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're like a light golden brown. Okay, now pull it toward me. And I'm going to pinch the seal here. And then I'll roll over on top of it. Okay. Now to slice it, I'm going to use some dental floss. You can use fishing line, thread, dental floss, whatever you'd like. Just slide it underneath here. You can also use a serrated knife. Some people do that, but I don't like. I think it squishes the cinnamon rolls, so that's why I use this. So here you're pulling it toward itself, and I go right about in the middle, and then right about in the middle of each of these pieces. And then I'll make 2 more slices here and this side. So each little quarter will get 3. They don't have to be exact, but it's best to get them as close to the same as possible. Okay, now I have a greased 9x13 pan here, and I'll put these, the ends, I'm going to put that part down first, and then I'm putting the little tails here on the inside. I like to put the ends on the little tails on the inside, so that if they come apart while they're baking, they'll kind of glue back together. Okay, look at those. Aren't they beautiful? We will now let them rise for about 30 to 35 minutes. We're going to cover them with plastic that has been greased, and then they'll be ready to pop in the oven. Okay, as you can see, these have doubled in size again. Well, not doubled in size, but these have risen again, and they're ready to go in the oven. So I'll remove the plastic wrap and bake them for 15 to 20 minutes. Don't they look beautiful? My second batch is done. Now ready to make some icing. So today we made 2 delicious pans of cinnamon rolls. And remember in the beginning I said that it would be very easy. It was a little time consuming, but as you see, it really was easy. So I hope that if you haven't tried cinnamon rolls before, that you will make your own, either using this recipe or your own recipe. The directions and recipe will be down in the description. The whole idea of our channel here is to encourage people to try things that maybe they haven't tried before, and to learn to love cooking and baking. So I hope that this helps in that area. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe to the channel and come back again for more videos. But I'm going to go now because I'm going to enjoy a delicious cinnamon roll and a cup of coffee. See you soon. It's a clean counter. First, we're going to punch it down. It looks like my butter was very, very melty, so I got a puddle.